What is going on, gamers, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of all ages? Welcome to the first official episode of XP Share Spotlight. I hope you all enjoy yourselves. I am here joined today with our guest Sarah and my co-host Flynn. What's
Hello.
going on? How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome,
Doing good.
welcome.
Thank you.
Flynn, what's
Yes.
up? Welcome to the
What's up?
podcast.
I
So,
am super excited to be here. I'm really excited to start Spotlight because it's definitely going to be different from it sounds like XP shares regular content.
a little bit. So what we're planning on doing here, guys, for those who, didn't fully decrypt the encrypted messages that have been all over Twitter and Discord, XP Share Spotlight is going to be more of a media content sharing episode segment string of episodes, for lack of a better term, where we're going to be where XP Share we're focusing on gaming, the casual gamer. We're planning on interviewing developers, just focusing on everything gaming. We're going to try to get Spotlight off the ground to shed some light on other media creators out there, artists, other just like producers of content that deserve a spotlight, deserve to be seen, like wonderful Miss Sarah up above us. How you doing? Thank you
I'm
for
doing
joining
really
us.
good. Yeah, of course. Happy to be here. I'm going to try to sculpt a spider goat and do this interview at the same time, so we'll see how it goes.
Ooh.
We believe in you.
I'm kind of excited.
Right?
Multitasking at its finest.
Right? Let's see if we can pull this off.
Sarah here is a conceptual sculptor, as well as an illustrator, which we will fully get into during the interview. And she has some lovely projects to share with us as well. So yeah, let's kick it off. Flynn, what you got?
Well, y'all know me, and I just want to gush just a little bit. I'm super excited to have Sarah on today, and asking Sarah to be here was kind of a fever dream for a second. So I'm really excited that she's here and she agreed to do the podcast. I've kind of known Sarah I've lurked in the background. Um, for we were talking about this right before
Hello.
right before we got on. For almost 9 years. J-Dog, you missed part of this conversation, I think, but 9 years I was living in Texas at the time, and I was unfortunately hospitalized for asthma, boo asthma.
Mm.
Uh, and I remember that Sarah gifted me a, and if I find it, like I have it somewhere. I still need to upload it. Um, but I'll share it somewhere because it's fantastic. It was one of your first sculpts, um, 3D sculpts of Fizz from League of Legends, and sent it to me with a "Feel better soon" while I was in the hospital. And it was also a pretty big moment for you. You were telling me.
Yeah, so it's crazy that that sculpt ended up being so important to so many people, because that was the sculpt that I did, like the first real sculpt that I did coming off of uh the arm injury that I mentioned. I think I actually kind of mentioned it a lot, but definitely mentioned it from time to time. And what it was I arted too hard. And I didn't take good care of myself, and I got tendinitis in every single tendon that you can get tendinitis in around your elbow, at the
Yikes.
same time. At the same time. And because of that, it pinched my ulnar nerve, and then it felt like my arm was lit on fire for years. So it was about 4 years to get back to back in action. And one of the And actually, like the first sculpt I did, coming off of that was Fizz, and it was like one of those things where I didn't really know what to do. It's like I had been out of the game sort of for so long. I was like, what do I do? And Fizz looked. I actually don't really know a ton about Fizz or League of Legends, but I was like, this looks really fun, and I like fish characters, and gotta start somewhere. And yeah, so that was kind of like my getting back on the bike sculpt. So it was pretty important that way.
And I've followed your art ever since, and your geckos. We're both.
Yeah.
Speaking of geckos, gecko in chat. Thank you, Juice Wayne. Um,
What up,
but Sarah
Juice?
also breeds geckos. Now you'll have to remind me though, because I feel really silly. I don't remember what your reptile business name
Oh,
is.
it's just fired up geckos. That's
Okay.
us. Yep. So and the fired up geckos logo was the first 2D thing I did coming off of that injury.
Oh,
So
nice.
like, yeah,
Good
so you
segue.
met you met
Go
me you
figure.
met me at like the beginning of many things. Yeah.
Well, I'm here for that. So, and I've been following your art ever since. When you currently have, this is your third Kickstarter now, or is it
No,
fourth?
this is my first. Okay,
No.
so yeah, this is my first that I'm doing 100%. Like I've made art for other Kickstarters, but I've
Okay.
never actually run one. So like, like it's really common to like hire artists to make art for your Kickstarter, and I've done a bunch of them, but this is my first like it's me doing it.
Hmm. I mean,
Your own.
uh, then maybe I'm having another fever dream. But did you not do it for your other books?
No, I didn't. The first book that I ever made, like my first big personal project, Seen and Unseen, that the way I funded that was I started a Patreon. So,
Okay.
and because I didn't need a ton of Seen and Unseen was a much smaller project than Astra Fauna is, and all I needed to do, or all I wanted to do, was to be able to pay my editor. So I was like, well, I don't, it was actually really, it was funny. It's like one of those moments where, it suddenly gets really real. So it suddenly gets like kind of scary. So I was in this is Seen and Unseen, also the first major project I did coming off of the injury. So I'm coming off of the injury. I don't really know where I'm going. I don't really know what to do. So I enroll in the Oatly Academy, which is an online art school, and they had this brand new program that they just launched that was basically how to make your first personal project. And I felt at the time very lost, and I didn't really know what to do. So I was like, hey, making a personal project that's sort of larger scale than just like a one-off sculpt seems like something I should maybe do. So I did, and I met someone in the class, and I'm more of an artist than a writer. That class actually was the thing that like taught me how to do the writing part. And so I like just did all the lessons and, did all the writing exercises and everything. One of my classmates was the other way around, and she started kind of acting as my editor. And like one day she was like, do you want to sort of make this like official, like we have a schedule and we do rounds of edits and you pay me and we like really do this?
And you
And I
pay
was,
me.
yeah. Like because it was just like when we were just classmates, she'd be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll like have time to look at it on Saturday. And she's like, if you really really want to do it, we can like really really do it, and I'll be your editor and you'll hire me and we'll actually have a schedule and stuff like that.
We'll
And
be on each other's books.
yeah, exactly. And so I like I said yes, um, like immediately. And then immediately had like an anxiety attack because all of a sudden this pie in the sky thing became a real thing because I had an employee ish. And then I was like, well, what am I gonna do? So that's why I started my Patreon, was to generate money to pay her.
Well, I love that, and I love that that's something that's important to you, because that's something that's important to me. Yay, paying people and paying your artists.
Yes.
For sure. And have you ever felt, what was like your journey with trying to advocate for getting yourself paid? I mean, when you started projects for other people instead of projects like Seen and Unseen.
Well, when it comes to like getting myself paid, Well, I worked in studios as an artist for like 10 years before I, went off on my own as a freelancer. And I've never like and I went to college for art and stuff. And essentially like after I graduated from college, like I was like, I'm a professional artist, you pay me. That's not like a that hasn't been a struggle for me asking to get paid. Like, pay your artists, and I try and make sure I pay the people who I work with too. Every once in a while, I get someone who like volunteers to work with me, and I'm always like incredibly grateful that they're volunteering their time. But in general, anyone who works with me, I try to pay them.
Well, and I think like that's important for me too because I know a lot of artists of any kind sometimes struggle to advocate what their self-worth is.
Mm,
Maybe not getting paid or not getting paid, like two sides of the coin, but making sure that they get paid what they're worth.
that's hard. That is harder. Because especially if you're working in entertainment, there's a ton of people who want to work in entertainment, and so they'll it's easy for clients to take advantage of the fact that people are like rabid to work in entertainment. So I it's one of those things where I think when you start off, you kind of have to like take the jobs that you can take, and then after you've done that for a bit and build up your reputation as someone, and of course, like, if you're going to get paid, you got to be professional. Like, get your stuff done on time, no missed deadlines, good quality. After you've done that for a little bit, you can like kind of start being like, hey, I proved myself, can we bump this up? And then every year you kind of assess and you try and bump up your rates and bump up your rates. And then, eventually, like in the beginning, I'd say it's probably pretty common to not really get paid what you're worth, but you don't actually have a good reputation yet.
Yeah,
And
you
then,
gotta build a name for yourself. People need to recognize your art and your or maybe not recognize it, but people need to recognize that you have an established style or that you have the flexibility of multiple styles and also have the ability to really see the creative eye of what the client wants, which they would only be able to really learn once hiring you, right? Because
exactly.
you can produce all this art, but if you have no if the other side of it is well, is this what the client wanted?
Right, right, yes. Yeah. Yep.
Not
Yeah,
only
you
look at how
definitely have
cool
to
my
be able
stuff
to
is,
follow directions.
yeah,
Yep.
look how cool my stuff is, but if it's still not what the client wanted, do you have that good of a reputation or a good enough name for yourself? Um,
Mhm.
so that in the beginning of things, so I went to expression art for expression digital. Wow,
That one college.
that one college and the place, the thing, uh, expression art, digital art college. And the second that I was done with that, I immediately shifted gears. It was something that I struggled with so hard to give myself self-worth about my own art. And I think
Mm.
that's why I immediately was just like, "Oh, look over here, science and medicine," and went immediately into veterinary med.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I think it's hard. Like advocating in I'm not going to say that like imposter syndrome isn't something that um I don't deal with. I do. It's just I've been making art professionally since I graduated college, and that was in 2006. So it's just been years of experience for me now. So it's just like you kind of have to get your reps in, I guess.
yeah,
And that's kind of what I want to do with cracked media. Like as we start like expanding to more, being more established as far as who knows about us and stuff like that. I want to try to bridge that gap with especially artists to be like, feel free to show your work. This is, we're here for you. This is a page where you can just showcase all your stuff, what you can do. You can just literally blab about yourself, and is like try to bridge that gap between, hey, I don't think I'm not worth getting paid this, to yes, you are worth getting paid this, you just need to put it out there, kind of thing.
Always, like, if you can offer a space like that, I think that would be really helpful to the art community in general, especially people who are starting out, because it's challenging. It really is.
Well,
And also, as much as I'm saying here, like, oh, you got to put yourself out. Well, if you put yourself out, you're gonna get hurt. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna say you're not worth it, and then you're
mhm,
gonna have to be like, well, I disagree, and then you're gonna have to
yeah.
Can't do
go
that.
and yeah, and then you're gonna have to go and do it anyways. And I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, that's a completely painless thing that you'll have. No, it's sometimes it's hard.
Content creation in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I
I,
mean,
I
had hard enough time advocating for myself when it comes to having almost 10 plus years in vet med and going, oh, I'm not going to take $18 an hour at specialty. You know what I mean? Like, it,
Mhm.
and I know that sounds like, and obviously, minimum wage all over the country is very very different, especially out here in California. Everything is so fucking expensive. Um,
Mhm.
so I know that I initially struggled with my worth as a technician, and then towards the end here when I'm getting really really close to burnout, I'm like, no no no, pay me.
yeah.
Mhm.
It
I can.
happens in everything. Like it literally took me, like obviously not counting my time as a little child, it honestly took me at least like 15, 20 years in like the just computer space. Because even though I didn't like go to classes or anything, like I knew a lot more than everybody else. But here I am, in the back of my mind, like I didn't go to college for this. There's probably some stuff I don't know. And then, yeah, after that 15, 20 year period, I just realized like, holy shit, I know a lot more than 95% of the people out there. Like, it's just getting over that hump, really.
Mhm. It's
Yeah,
funny. I have I post it every time it shows back up. Have you seen me post? It's the trickster god thing.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of helps me. I'm a huge fan of trickster gods. Um, like in all of mythology, even as like a kid, like I'd be like, oh, Loki is awesome, or Puck is awesome, or oh, Coyote is awesome, and I don't know why. I just trickster gods are my favorite. So I saw this. There's this meme that goes around, and it's just like, oh, you're an artist and you have imposter syndrome. Just embrace the fact that you are a trickster goddess, and your job is to basically fool all these people into believing that you are good at art. And because I like Trisha God so much, I was like, that's hilarious. I'm going to embody that.
People say it all the time, but it's so true. Like, fake it till you make it. Like, even
Hmm.
it's it sounds so bad when you say it, but it's so true. Like,
I like fake it till you make it. I know some people um don't like it, but I've used it to great effect, and I think it really helps. It does. Like, when you go and you're gonna do anything, you're gonna feel awkward and it's gonna be weird. And I will say too, if like you're going to a new space, like let's say this is how to be a good friend moment. So I went to my first con Spectrum, because I avoided cons like the plague because I'm shy. And
the actual
Spectrum
plague.
was, yeah, like, yeah, the actual plague. And it was 2017. I go to Spectrum. I'm an absolute hot mess. I'm like anxiety, sweat, crying, bad. I like go to the shower, sit in the shower for like an hour, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk into the con, and I like make a post on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, I'm at Spectrum, blah blah blah, and like one person was just like, oh, because I like didn't really know anyone in the art community either, because like again, this is post injury, this is me just getting into freelance. I'm still kind of like the new person, and someone was like, "Oh, cool. I'm hanging out in the lobby of this hotel. Do you want to meet up?" And I was like, "You are the greatest human being in the entire world right now." so so if you are in a social situation and you notice there's like a newcomer and you can do that for them, that's a super cool thing for you to do.
And so I think also bringing that and tying that into this being the first episode of Spotlight and you saying yes, like day made. Gosh, what was it? Was like midnight, and it was like no, it maybe 10 p.m. or something. And I texted you, was like, "Hey, we have this idea. You want in?" And you said probably, and I was just like, "What? What?" I didn't expect it. Um, and then really though, thinking like with this weekend, thinking back on just how long, like we said, we were talking about the fizz thing. Um, just how long I've been following your art. I've got seen and unseen. I've followed uh I've followed your dog arc also. I
Ooh,
you know went
the dog
that's
arc
a
is that's an
that's a
arc. That's an
that's
arc
an
right
arc,
there.
right? And it's an arc that I sort of related to because I also um had a very like I know Dodger was like your heart dog, and then my heart dog Nurgle also had to let him go due to cancer, and so I really kind of understood what you were going through. And I remember when you got Dodger, and then seeing Ink come into the picture and watching him kind of grow up really. um
Yeah.
and so has he graduated to full studio assistant? Does he do pretty well now, or
Oh, so I've given him a new job. I haven't fully announced it, but I am calling him my mental health assistant
okay?
because he Dodger was a great studio assistant and he was really good about reminding me to take breaks and take walks. As a greyhound, it's awesome because greyhounds have like a he was an ex-racer. And so it built into his schedule, he was like, it is noon, we do noon stuff. It is 5 p.m., we do 5 p.m. stuff. And that was great because I am a hot mess when it comes to that. So to have a dog just automatic, and you can't ever you can't snooze a dog, you can't shut off a dog, you can't be like, not now. So he was awesome because at the time I was I got I got Dodger to deal with like a major flare up. So I started my business, my arm was under control, the injury had healed, and I started making the Atlas Animalia. That was my first
Yeah.
big book project, and there was 130 illustrations in that book, and I think I was on like 20, and I had this flare up, and it was bad. Um, and wow, all of this stuff is tied together. So,
Isn't it really?
yeah, it's like so crazy. So I had the flare up, and that was really bad. And I went to Spectrum, and so I go to Spectrum, and at Spectrum, I was talking to Tara Whitlatch, who is an awesome creature designer. She taught a class at Schoolism that I took. And one of the things that we talked about during the class was how much she likes sighthounds and I like sighthounds. And I had been sort of on the fence, like, do I want a greyhound? Do I not want a greyhound? Blah blah blah. And
Right.
I was talking to her about it, and she's like, getting that dog is not going to make you a better artist, but getting that dog is going to make you happier, which will then make you a better artist. So I called the
Right.
Greyhound Rescue the day I got home. Um, and Dodger was adopted a week later. So it was just like magic. And I got him to help me maintain a good working schedule with intermittent breaks so I didn't get flare ups anymore. And so Dodger played an actual major role of getting me from like 90% healed to 100% healed. And that last
Wow.
10% is really tricky to get, because it's like, oh yeah, I can totally draw,
You feel
it's
better.
fine. And then it'll be like, bam, you're not fine.
Yep.
And now I'm really okay. Like I've been okay for years, but I would attribute Dodgers care to a big positive impact on my arm health.
Oh, I totally get it.
That's pretty cool.
um I mean, that's what dogs do, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh, but I was talking about Ink being my
yes.
mental health companion. So Ink, um, uh, he has really taken to enforcing meditation time for me. And so every time I'll go to meditate, he like makes sure he like lays down on top of me. If I'm having a bad bout of anxiety, he'll lay down on top of me. I've had a few friends who have PTSD. He's been very attentive to their needs, and so I'm just kind of like, oh, you're my mental health dog. Good on you, buddy.
He's a
So
sensitive boy.
he is such a sensitive little boy, and so that is the role that I think he is going to fill in my life.
Well, I love that.
Yeah,
It's
he's a
really
good
cool.
boy.
And I gotta know. So tell me how you came up. So his nickname, for anybody who doesn't follow Sarah, who's listening, is the Fey Beast. Uh,
Yes.
and how did you come up with calling him the Fey Beast?
Because he acts like a fae. He does. He's, I mean, he actually is good for my mental health, but this is probably going back to the trickster god thing. I think trickster gods are hilarious, and Ink acts like a a fae beast. He like steals things and hides them, and never he doesn't break stuff like. And he'll like dance around and like just he's a silken windhound. So if you want to Google that, you'll look. He even looks the part. Um, like
Just hair everywhere, just floof.
yeah, yeah, and the way he walks, they have like a very light and airy way of walking about them, and I was like, I really think you're from the Brightlands and you're not actually a dog. You know?
Prancing.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you're actually canine, and I invited you into my house, so I'm dealing with it. But
You signed that contract.
it's true, I did, and he's been great for me, and I think he's been great for me because I think Fey trickery is hilarious. He might not be good for another person, but he's good for me.
I mean, and I think that's important to note because, like, I don't think everybody could tolerate my dog. I think Brinsler is super clingy, and he's a Velcro dog, and I can't walk away without him being, right next to me. He has to watch my every move, but at the same time, he's just so mellow, and he doesn't want to ask for anything, and he's just he kind of reminds me to just you can relax. Everybody
Hmm.
expects you to be on all the time because he's an Australian Shepherd Border Collie.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
But everybody just, "Oh my god, he must have so much." And really though? Eh, he's not. He's very, very mellow. I mean, take him to the dog park and he's bonkers. But
Oh yeah.
here at home, he's very mellow, very relaxed, and he's just always excited to see a person pay attention to him. So,
That's awesome.
and I think some people want more of a companion and less of a piece of Velcro.
Mm.
But
I'm
that's
a I'm a I'm a big fan of the Velcro dog myself. Like
are any of
I
your
like some people are like, oh, I hate when it's trying to touch me all the time, and it's really funny because when it comes to human beings, I'm not a huge fan of them touching me, but when it comes to my dog, I'm just like, yeah, we can cuddle like pretty much 24/7. It's fine.
yeah,
It's fine.
get in my shirt. We're going
Yeah,
places.
exactly. Yup.
I want to say here
Imagine.
too, Too Faded on chat mentioned a little bit ago. Watching Sarah sculpt in real time is crazy.
I'm glad you're enjoying.
So
And it
do
is.
you do that on like a pen pad, or how you doing there right now?
Oh yeah, yeah. So this is a Wacom Cintiq, and I would recommend that if you're gonna start off with this, Wacom Cintiqs are really expensive.
Yes, they are.
Um, s- so it was my oh god, let me hope I get it right. Christmas birthday anniversary gift. Like our my Christmas, my birthday, and our anniversary is like really really close together. So when Tom surprised me with it a few years ago, and he was like, "This is the gift that is encompassing the entire year's worth of gifts," and I was like, "Thank you, it's beautiful."
I don't want another thing ever.
Yeah, I was like, you gave me a unicorn today.
Seriously though.
But if you're interested in trying it out, if you have a iPad, then there's a program called Nomad, and you can use the Apple Pencil, and that's basically like a stripped down version of ZBrush. The program I'm in right now is called ZBrush. Or you can get a tablet, so like that would be kind of like a bamboo tablet or an Intuos tablet. The trick with the tablet, and one I don't like, is that you have to look at the screen up here and your hand is doing its own thing down there, so it's like weird because like
Yeah.
if you're used to drawing at the like paper on pen, like
Yeah.
you can see the line, like, and then you have to separate that. And I got decent at it, but I always hated it.
So
So
you
when
actually have
the
a full visual of what you're drawing on right now, just looking
totally,
at your
yeah,
pad. That's
basically
cool.
the yeah, can I show it? Here we go. So it's like a, see, it's like this big tablet thing. It's like a big TV
Oh,
Oh,
monitor.
that
huge.
that
Yeah,
is
it's like a
cool.
like a big TV monitor, and I can draw directly on top of it, and this pen is like synced to it, and you sync the pen to like the corners so it knows what the pen is, and then
Right.
it's just straight up like drawing on a pad of paper at this
That
point.
is
So
really cool.
That's
it's
so cool.
it's awesome.
What do you think? So I way back in the day, I think before I got my iPad, and I primarily use Procreate, but I want to dabble in Nomad, but I'm not there yet. Um, I'm very much a 2D artist. I'm not. I don't know, something about depth perception and depth makes things very difficult for me. Um,
Mm.
but I used to use a bamboo for a really long time, also because for the longest time, um, I was still on a Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that our Macs. Okay, this is how removed I am from the graphic design community. Are Apples still what people use, like primarily in graphic design, or have we gone back to the PC master race?
I honestly think that it really depends on the artist. Like I've used both because I've bopped around from different studios, and as far as ZBrush and Photoshop is concerned, they're essentially the same.
Right.
Um, I do like I like PCs more for like file handling things,
I agree.
but as far as just like the if you're an artist, the art programs themselves are basically the same. There's like the hotkeys are a little bit different, but they pretty much the exact same functionality. So I personally don't think it matters. I just think because once if you know Photoshop on a PC, you're gonna know Photoshop on a Mac. It's just really like knowing the program. And as far as like what's better, I bet people could debate you on that all day.
Oh
But
yeah.
I would say, with me, I really don't care about like the hardware. It's just like what, like if you give me a machine and you're like, this will run Photoshop and ZBrush efficiently and well, and it won't crash. I'm like, cool, that's a good machine then.
That's all I need.
Exactly.
Honestly, as far as like, I want to, I don't know, like from what I say seen over the past couple years, ever since Microsoft dropped the Surface Studio, I feel like people are more like free drawing on that more than anything when it comes to Windows. I don't know if Mac actually has anything like that outside of like the iPad and stuff, right?
I don't
Because
know,
the
but I do know that
Surface
the iPad
Studio,
is.
yeah, because like the Surface Studio is just like a whole. It's like the whole desktop, but just a more. I want to say universal, but that's not the right word. A more flexible kind of like drawing environment.
I
I don't
feel like
know if you
Procreate
guys.
on the iPad is that answer.
Oh,
And
okay.
because it basically syncs with Mac, you could effectively use, to my knowledge, I don't have a Mac desktop anymore, but you can effectively sync your iPad to be used almost like the Cintiq is, and have it, come up on your big whatever monitor or whatever, and basically just draw on your iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I used to do art streams where I used to screen capture and just grab what I was, drawing live on Procreate, and that's still what I use primarily because, I mean, that's what was accessible to me at the time. But also, the cost has really been, you hear Apple and you automatically just think dollar signs, but at one point the iPad, like fifth or sixth generation, whichever the first one was that had the Apple Pencil. I went for whatever first generation that was, and we were already, six or seven generations past that or whatever at this point. I don't know what iPad number we're on, the thin ones and the minis, and I don't even know.
Oh God, I don't know. I
I-
don't know.
Yeah.
so after it's technically rendered obsolete, I was looking at whatever one was running. Like I said, the very first rendition of the Apple Pencil. I found it at Target for $180. and someone loaned me their Apple Pencil, and they ended up upgrading all their stuff, so I ended up keeping it. So, and Procreate's free. So my setup to draw not totally professionally, because I don't, but people definitely do use it professionally, was significantly cheaper than most. And so coming from an Apple product, I thought that that was kind of surprising that it was relatively affordable. I say relatively affordable because I mean I'm still a broke college student after all.
I love Procreate. I use Procreate for if I'm not sketching with like traditional like paper and pen, I'm sketching in Procreate. It's like I just like the way it feels, and I love the portability of it. And like I just showed you the giant Cintiq thing I'm working on now. It's like almost like when you're here, you're sort of like locked in, and it sometimes to sketch you have to like get your mind outside. So like if I can take the my iPad and Procreate and the Apple Pencil and like go somewhere else to sketch, that's super helpful sometimes. So yeah,
Definitely. Or if like halfway through you need a meditation break, or if you need to move to a different spot because the sun's in your eyes or something, it's a lot easier to just get up and move instead of hauling tons of equipment, or just simply readjusting your lap isn't
yeah,
isn't a whole marathon of motions. You can just kind of plop
Yeah.
down.
right, right.
um I want to shift a little bit of gear here. um so I As I mentioned earlier, I have seen and unseen. I have uh not Kingdom Animalia, Atlas
Atlas
Animalia.
Cinema.
Nope.
Yep, yep, yep.
Love them both.
Oh, thank
They
you.
are in line with all my other art books because I collect art books, so this is something that I've always been really excited to have, and now it's like not a series, but I like collections. So now you've got me on the hook for life. Like I can't not have one because then my collection's not complete. So whoopsie daisy. Um, but I really want to focus on your current one, and your amazing Kickstarter, and I would love to know um, some fun facts about and Astra Fauna, or do you say Astra Fauna or Astrofauna?
I say Astra Fauna.
Okay,
Yeah. But I mean, one thing that I like about it is because it's like all sci-fi. I even told the voice actors who are doing the audiobook, like if they mispronounce something, I'm just like, don't stress it. That's the character's accent, or that's how they say it. Like I'm not gonna like we have like herb and herb, and it's the tomato thing. Like
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
never gonna get upset with that because like I'm not gonna go to like England and be like, stop saying herb. So
very true.
Yeah, that kind
yeah,
of.
but I say Astrofauna, and it is 5 short stories, and each story is follows a alien scientist. So for the most part, they're all xenobiologists. So they are a scientist that studies aliens, and they are aliens themselves, and they go. They're the unofficial stories of their field outings. So they got a grant, they went out into the field to do their studies, and then I kind of like the concept of every story is 2 stories. So like yes, there's the story of them going off and doing their science, but also there's the story of what happened to them as individuals while they were out there. And
Their growth
Astrofauna,
story. Yeah,
exactly, and Astrofauna focuses on those stories, not the official stories, the unofficial stories.
That's cool.
And I thought it was cool, and thank you so much. Um, and then additionally, because I'm an artist, it's illustrated. So I stopped counting at 230 images. They're in
so crazy.
varying degrees of fanciness. So some are full illustrations, some are more concept art. And then because I'm a nerd, and I love and I love games, I included system neutral stat blocks to go with every. And since you guys are nerds, you'll understand it too.
Yes,
So I have basically you have your humanoid characters, your NPCs, so they have an NPC stat block that's a bit more robust than creature stat block, which is your monsters and stuff like that. And I wrote a couple hooks if you want to include them into one-shot campaigns and your homebrew game games, and
Oh, that's
the
so cool.
Nice. And the book itself sort of serves as a lore book. So each chapter is like a different planet. So it's like a different character, a different set of humanoids and monsters, and a different planet. And so what you could do is you could like planet hop, and it would be each chapter could serve as a different lore book for a jumping off point. So that's the project, kind of in a nutshell. Um, but it took me like 6 years to make, and we're 98% funded on Kickstarter. We're so close.
Oh god, I keep going to check on it on my phone. Like, anything else? No. Okay. Wow.
Anything else? Yeah. All right. It's like, come
You
on.
sure?
It's like we're like $300 away from funding. It's like, it would be so good if it funded while I was making this spider goat or sheep. I think it's a sheep.
Uh, so they're called Jacob's sheep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
And
it's a spider sheep.
yes. Um, and I think it's silly that Jacob's sheeps, are technically the, I want to say, quote unquote, representation of the devil, right? Because they have the four horns and they look very spooky, demonic, whatever. But their names are Jacob sheeps, right? So Jacob, like from the Bible, and I just think that's really ironic. And someone has a really terrible sense of humor when they named this animal. I'm just saying, maybe his name was Jacob. I don't know. I
That's a
really
fair
don't.
point. Yeah, I always thought actually you touched on something that I think is super interesting. So one of the things I'd like to do with my work in general, and it definitely happens on Astra Fauna, is that not, and I guess seen and unseen, which is literally called that, not everything is as it appears. So, like I kind of like playing around with just because something looks scary doesn't mean it is scary, or sometimes just because something looks safe doesn't mean it is safe. Um, and I think that that's really true in all creature design. Is like if you have, let's say you have this sheep, and they're like, oh man, it looks like the symbol of the devil, and I'm like, I'm sure that those things like make little ba ba bleeding noises and probably get into mischief. And when they run, they probably do that weird prance frolic thing that all sheep do. And they're probably not scary at all.
I do have to say though that you got one more backer, and now you're only $100 away. I'm just
Oh my god,
Wow,
so
let's go,
we might
dude.
actually do it.
it might actually happen. So you're at 13,495 out of 1360, or out
It
of
That's
might
good.
happen.
1360.
We might have
So,
done it.
so
Maybe.
I just wanna point that out. I
That's
saw it tick up and I was like, that's not the number from earlier.
that's awesome. That's so good.
Um, but I love that too, and it's true. Jacob sheep actually, they are still kept for their wool, and they have amazing, fantastic wool for textile, and they grow up very easily, and they're very hardy, and they're actually relatively sweet. They're not particularly rude. They're a little bit on the mischievous side, which you like.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, if they're on the mischievous side, it'd be like, get me 5.
and
Like,
but really, they're not. They're wonderful people. I follow someone on TikTok who is a sheep shearer, and she talks a lot about Jacob sheep, and they shear just like any other sheep. They're not rude. They're not harder to handle. I mean, you just got to watch out for the extra pokey bits. Um,
yeah.
but fun fact: Jacob sheep can have anywhere from 2 to 6 horns.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, will someone get me a 6-horned goat right now?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That
Uh,
sounds that sounds great.
right.
Sign me up.
I'm
I
right. I just want.
Especially no, it would like then I can see it too, because I'll be like, oh, sign me up for the mischievous sheep, and then it's gonna be ink in the sheep, and they're gonna steal all my stuff, and like hide it in
Just
the
prance around
backyard.
together.
Yep. And then they're gonna be like, ha ha ha, we're 2 babies now.
And then you're just like, and here's my name. Just take it.
Yeah.
definitely
But
know
I
some
always
nerds who'll
figure.
go crazy over the stat block idea for sure.
Oh yeah,
Just kind of
I
like
hope to.
randomly insert them into games. Like, have fun.
One of the things I think like one of the things that I'd like to do and hope to provide is like I mean how like I've played D&D since 2003. So
Nice.
a lot of people like that know all the monsters. So if
Mhm.
you make new monsters, you can kind of be like, haha, you don't know what this is. And
Exactly.
give some people a little bit more hopefully thrilling experience, because they're fighting something new or interacting with something new.
No, I think that's really cool because I mean, not only because you're already making the backstory to him too, right? So why not just just give a different whole aspect to him, right?
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
And also it's I don't know, it's like it's kind of neat if you're like you said, if you're going to do the whole backstory, well, why don't you make it usable? You know,
Hmm.
and you can have these
Give it a reason. Yeah.
exactly. And I like to make sure that what I make um provides I like to make people happy. Like one of the reasons I make the art that I make, and I know that the art that I make, because it's all weird creatures and stuff, doesn't make everyone happy, but it makes some people happy, and that's who you know I want to make your games fun, and I want to encourage people to make their own worlds and invent new things, and to not be scared to try any of that. So here's hoping I do that.
I mean, you're over here sculpting a Jacob sheep spider or a ram spider. So, I mean, breaking that barrier as we're sitting here talking. So,
We're doing it.
Have you ever had somebody just be like, "Yo, that just creeps me out"? Like,
Oh yeah. Yep. I've had all sorts. Oh, it was so funny. I had this one elderly woman, and she was so concerned for my health. Like she comes in, I was at an outside event, and so like you have like the little 10 by 10 tents. So I had a little pop-up tent that I didn't own. I borrowed it from my buddy, and I'm pretty new into the game. I just finished seeing Unseen at this point. And she comes in and she looks at all this stuff, and she looks and she's like, like creeping around, like what horrors have I seen? And she looks around, and I'm quiet and polite and everything, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine." And she's like, "Do you have nightmares?" I'm like, "No. In general, no, I don't have nightmares. Or at least I don't have like anything more than the normal amount of nightmares." And she's
right?
like, "Do you?" She's
Do
like,
you
"Do
live in the
you?
same timeline as me right
Yeah.
now?
Do
Like,
you see these monsters when you're awake?" And I was like, I just try to make monsters. It's a lot of anatomy and biology, actually. So I've definitely creeped some people out. I've had far more positive response than negative response, but I've had some people that like, there's always going to be some people who are scared, and there's always going to be some people who are rude. Like I've had someone walk up to my table at Dragon Con, and they looked at my stuff and they were like, "Nope, none of this," and they just like left. I was like,
oh
"Okay."
my god.
I was
apparently
like,
they
"Oh."
didn't
I was
go to
like,
kindergarten where they were taught if you don't have anything nice to say, share it on the internet later, I guess is what they learned instead.
"Right." So I was like, "Oh, okay."
Enjoy
just
being uncultured.
Yeah.
just saying too. 13,542. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
13,542.
Let's go.
Oh
Oh
my
my
god,
god.
you're
He's
50.
like
Oh my god. Now
so close.
J Dog's like,
So close.
So close.
I'm
I'm
calling you
glad.
out. If you're in chat right now, if you're viewing the stream and you haven't, at least go pledge like $5, like even $5. Just follow it. Do the thing. Support the thing so other people can have the thing.
I'm glad we
How
could
does
be
that
part
Spider
of this
sheep.
historical
Spider
moment.
sheep.
sheep does whatever a spider sheep does? Will
Uh,
it swing from a web? I have no idea. I think the I don't know.
it's,
I think
it's
that there's something horrific but also really interesting about my brain now concept. So, okay, how big is the spider sheep? Is it sheep size? Is it spider size? What spider size is it? Like now
Ooh. Okay, if it's sheep sized, then there's only gonna
fuck.
be. Oh, okay. How about this? How about this? We do both. We do both. So there'll be a
Oh
big
no, there's
spider
breeds, there's
sheep and
species.
all of her terrible little spider babies. And they'll be
No.
on this big web, but the web will be like all woolly and like really, really tangly, so it'll be like in there amongst
Oh
like with the wool, and the
my
web is
god.
like woolly looking, and then there'll be all these tiny little spider sheep babies,
Fuzzy.
but they'll because they're part sheep, they can jump.
oh
So
god.
Oh no. Jumping.
Nightmares.
extra jumping spiders.
This
Um,
is why some people don't like my work.
well, again, they're uncultured swine who aren't actual animal lovers. Okay, if you're an animal lover, you love spiders too. Um, and Jacob sheep. It's not their fault. They have horns that they're. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when people have said stuff like that to you, do you feel I mean, how do you feel? How do you combat the haters, Sarah?
Uh, you know, now,
Now,
one of my greatest joys is when when I when I get a hater, eh,
I'm
because
already excited. You haven't said
when they
anything yet, and I'm
when
just like,
when
yes.
when they come to your booth and they'll be like ugh, you know, and they'll say something like lean in. They always lean in, and they're like, your work is creepy and terrifying, you know?
Good.
And like and if someone says that with a smile on their face, like I'm like, that's great. What do you want to see? But if someone comes in and they're like serious about that and they're like trying to disrespect it, I lean it in so sincerely. I'm just like, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you like it. And always they like almost explode. Like they almost like because
Like
they
that's
want
not
they're like
worse.
I will just destroy this woman. And I'm like, odd choice to do with a total stranger. And so
Really
I
though.
I'm always like, oh, thank you so much. And they like can't even, and then they usually leave. And it's just
I
like
love trolling
it's
angry people.
it's just like the best thing ever. Um
Cathartic.
yeah, it is.
Just hand him your business card. Thanks for your
Yeah.
patronage.
Right? Oh yeah, you want to see my portfolio? Yeah.
Do you wanna share my portfolio with all your other hater friends so they can share it and you're still sharing my art? Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Word of mouth is any word of mouth is still word of mouth, friend. Um,
But when I was younger, it was like one of those things where I kind of just had to like do the mental toughness thing. Like you kind of at this point I don't care. Like I like what I do and a bunch of people like what I do, and if someone's just like, "Oh, you're terrible." I'm just like, "Well, I love the you're not my cup of tea analogy."
right.
I don't know if you've heard that, but it's just
Oh yeah.
like, it just might not be your cup of tea. The other thing I like is the dog breed way of saying that is like we have like over 400 breeds of dogs or something. And that's because there's like 8 billion people. And so you're not going to all like the same breed of dog. And that's okay. And it doesn't make anyone bad or anything like that. Like I like sight hounds and I don't really like herding dogs. My roommate loves herding dogs. So you
Flint.
know and that's fine. Um and, like I have no problem with that. Now if you're gonna go in and be mean about it, I'm probably gonna do the, "Oh, thank you so much."
Your opinion is not valid, but thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for trying. I
Right.
appreciate it. I'm similar. It's like when people go, "Oh my god, lizards? Oh my god,
Oh yeah.
snakes? Oh my god, that's so gross. They're so slimy." And I'm like, "What?
Yeah,
What
I
have you
mean
been
they're
touching?"
I'm like, what have you been touching? Yeah, it's so
Well,
true.
especially when someone looks at like so when all dogs are great except chihuahuas. Thanks, Juice Wayne. Um, bet. I see that. When I started doing reptile stuff, I started going to conventions as kind of uh, you know, the heavy lifter, I guess, for my friend Marcia McGinnis, who owned Golden Gate Geckos,
Mm,
and I learned everything that I know about leopard geckos from and a couple of the other like weird knobtail gecko species from her, and I love her for it, and I did that for like 4 years. I went with her, and then one year, the first year that she didn't go, which was unbelievably sad, and I still miss her, and I wish I kept in touch with her more, but um and then the year that she didn't go was my first year solo as Moss Pit Exotics. um
okay.
and it's hard. I feel like breeding geckos is similar. Oh, that's you know what? That's a different tangent. I think that when people came up to the booth though and were like, with her especially, and they came up and they look at the leopard geckos and they try to call a leopard gecko slimy. I'm like, no. They're
Yeah.
like one of the softest animals, arguably, like one of the softest animals out there. So
Yeah, definitely not slimy.
One says as
But
he filled my room with snakes at one point.
I look, I did
Okay, Phil is a little exaggerated, but
so pretty. I
oh,
like ball pythons too. I do.
my
But
my
corn
ball
snakes are
python,
just so pretty.
and they both were. I had Nala and Simba, so I had like she was a hypo snow or something.
Mm.
This was a really long time ago. Uh, all I remember was Simba was orange. I really don't remember much more than that. But my ball python Shadow Man was God. He made the move to Texas and back, and survived all sorts of crazy stuff. And he had the spider gene, so he had the wobble, but he never missed a meal. He shed great, and he was just this personal little dum dum, little rock. Just I don't know. Snakes are cool, and so when someone, especially when someone looks like a ball python, looks at a ball python and says "ew," it's like, did you just call my pet rock gross?
Right? Yo.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry. Are you okay? Did he offend you?
Yeah.
Um, so I also just want to say this is really cute, and make a shout out because my mom is listening to this.
Oh.
Um, so
Hi,
hi,
mom.
mom. um, she was like, well,
Hello.
and so she's still listening. She just texted me something. And I was like, oh, you're still listening. She texted me when we tuned in, right? And she's typing to me right now. I'm calling her out for this. Um, hi everyone.
Oh.
um, and so I just want to. She's cool. My mom's
Mom
cool. She's on
support is
Twitch.
mom
Hi,
support is
Flynn's mom.
awesome.
You muted. Said hi, Flynn's mom. Everybody loves you. You're famous now, mom. Um, this was about Sarah. It was supposed to be about Sarah, but now it's about my mom. Whoops. Um, and since I'm looking
Moms
at
are
my phone,
important.
they are important. Uh, unless you don't have one, and then I'm sorry. My mom says, "Aw." Since I'm on my phone, when I refresh, nope, they're still at 13 5 542. All right, fine. I see you, Kickstarter. I see you.
So close. We're so close.
So close. Um, way backtracking. Um, so Astra Fauna is the read between lines, and we talked about making stat blocks, which I'm super excited for. I love homebrews. I
Oh,
think
homebrew campaigns are like my heart. I've
um
had some of the
oh god.
best moments. Like we still talk about stuff that happens in homebrew. I love homebrew games because it'll be like 15 years later and you'd still be like, "Oh, you remember that time?" It's just so good.
And one of the homebrews I'm in right now, I'm in a Humblewood campaign, which is almost so popular that it's no longer homebrew, but it is because it's not standard five. It's not
Mm.
Hasbro's, or excuse me, Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons now. Blech. I didn't say that out loud. Nobody heard me. This is the sole opinions of myself and nobody else. Um, but I lost my train of thought. It's fine.
You're talking
Well,
about Humblewood.
thank you.
No problem.
Um, no, but I loved Humblewood. I have a couple of snow post-apocalyptic ones that I really want to try out.
Ooh.
Um, that I want to try out. I have a bunch of stuff sitting on like my drive-through RPG that's just chilling, uh, waiting for me to like read it for sure. Another one that I've backed was from a high school friend. Wrote this huge, I mean, bigger than the 5e book, just this massive chunk of a book called Age of Antiquity.
Okay.
Um, and it has a lot of like Grecian, Roman, sci-fi war influence, which is definitely like the war part of it, definitely not something that is like my shtick, but like
Mm.
everything else, and they were buddies from high school, and I remember when they were talking uh, about their scenarios and everything that was just things that I remembered from role playing back on like 2005 Gaia Online.
Okay.
So it was almost the same premise, and to see it get into a book. So I love homebrew. That's the point here. Like 5e is cool. I like the rules. The rules are great, but homebrew all the way.
Yeah. I generally prefer
Are they
campaigns
though?
where where it's a little bit rules light. Like when I'm in when I'm in a playing a game and it's very much so like dungeon crawly, we chuck dice and stuff. Like that's fun and good just basically to hang out with your buddies. But if I'm gonna have like a campaign and get really invested into like my character and role playing and stuff like that, I generally prefer when it's more character and plot driven than stats and numbers driven. That's my preference for gaming.
No, I totally agree. I'm less about min maxing and much more about stats, or not about stats, and more about uh, lore and more about community and stuff like that. And I really got into that with my LARP too that I was a part of.
Oh, cool.
Um, and it was much more about the community than it was the economics. People are like min maxing and they know all the items and they know what they're doing, and I'm just like, and I've got this many money.
Yo, yo.
Do you need something fixed? Because I think I have that skill.
I do the fix skill.
You want cook? I can brew. Here you go. Like, and so I wasn't really about the skills were cool, and getting up to the point where I felt like the skills that I had helped the town. I also just like being in the town.
Yeah.
So I get that.
What game did you play?
Dystopia Rising?
Okay. Back in the day, I did Madrigal and Nero. So,
Oh
but I
wow.
don't know Dystopia Rising.
It's definitely newer. It's in its third season, I think, right now. And I
Hmm.
had to take a huge hiatus, obviously, because cough pandemic problems. Um,
Yeah, that's a problem. That's hard to
Yep.
LARP that way.
it is.
Oh, but
But there was a huge online LARP community using Discord, using Roll20, using, so I mean, it didn't totally die, but it was
Yeah,
very difficult. That's for
it
sure.
was. It was like, and super different. And I don't know, even when it comes to we've kind of gotten to the point, at least all my friends, like, everyone has jobs and kids and yada yada yada. So it's pretty much like if you're gonna it's roll 20 or you're not gaming. And I always prefer import in person, but you know, I'd rather game than not game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh gosh. And technology is so vast at this point that we have things like Roll20 that really immerse you into as if it was in front of you. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're not just like talking on Ventrilo.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for real.
You can see the landscape, you can still see your characters move, you can still interact with things around you, and you're still visually engaged. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Roll 20 is great.
It's
It's
complicated, but
yeah,
spell effects are dope on Roll20, says Two Faded.
it's always good when your DM just kind of like m- makes it more fun than more serious. Like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
nobody always likes playing by the rules. Like it's
Okay, so
they're
now that we're talking,
guidelines.
I was gonna say, now that we're talking about funny though, I do have to say this. So at one point, you were talking about D&D moments. Um, I God, in our Humblewood campaign, at one point there were slimes in the toilet. Um, and now our like entire quest, like our DM just happened to throw it in there, like, oh well, there's a slime in there, and one of our characters was going to the bathroom and was just so abhorred that there were these poor little slimes in the toilet, and so now it's like seeing slimes anywhere is like super triggering. We feel so bad for them because some of them are resorted to a life of sadness.
Oh
And my mom just
no.
says, "Ew," um, but it's true. There were slimes in the toilet, and
Sad toilet slimes.
That just reminded me of the Meeple Station stuff that I sent you.
no,
Like that was literally the biggest problem in the world. It was like there would be
feces.
there would be fucking big old blobs of shit that would come out of the toilet, and they would just walk all over your space station, and you couldn't clean anything up.
I guess
Like,
there's no janitors in space. I don't know. Are there janitors in Astra Fauna?
That
there would be. There's a space dock that Morty works at. Do you know the thing on the cover, Tackrel? She's got the big
Yes.
smile and everything. So
Yeah.
the creature that she meets, he's a Salamar, and they're like space lizards. And they prefer to work on like big machinery and mechanics and stuff like that. Their space dock would definitely have a janitor.
I would only assume that debris floating in from space and all the weird bug stuff that you hit, and yeah, no, I think janitors are really important because poop is gross. Stuff is gross.
It's true.
If you had to name your janitor, what would you name your janitor?
See, that's tricky because when it comes to the Salamar, um, Sarah Ford named Morty. She does the Adorka stock and Adorka bows,
Oh
and we
god, I
were
love her.
yeah, and we were just hanging out on Twitch, and I'm sculpting him, and she's like, "What's his name?" And I was
I
like,
didn't even
and
know
then and
you knew
I,
her.
oh my god, yeah, I've known her for my whole life. We grew up next to each other, like pretty
I
much on
wonder
the
if that's
same.
how I started following Adorka Bows. Maybe you posted
Yeah,
something of hers once.
I have known her always, basically. We started hanging out a lot in high school because I was really shitty at math and she was less shitty at math. And so I was like, hey, can we maybe be friends and you can help me with math? And we've just sort of hung out ever since.
Yeah, I don't remember how I found Adorka Bows, so I wonder if that's how is because
It,
I've been following you and you probably posted something of hers.
yeah, it could have been. Like, I've known her like forever. Like, I lived, like, there's like, Main Street that goes through a neighborhood and like, they have the little off streets.
Hmm.
So I think I was about 4 or 5 houses away from her
Oh,
when we were
nice.
kids. Yeah.
small
Oh,
world.
that's cool. The world
Yeah.
is so small.
Yeah. Yeah.
The internet is
So
this huge place, but honestly, it is so small.
super tiny. So she named Morty. So I'd actually have to ask her.
Oh, well. Okay. Well, that was I put you on the spot, and I feel bad for that, but
That's fine.
how do you feel? And I also have to say this just out to Two Faded, who said, "I love casting Fireball and seeing where it hits on the screen for Roll20." Um,
Some people just
it
want to watch the world burn.
burn. What is it? There is no I in team, but there are 6, 7 eyes in.
Um,
I don't care how big the room is. I cast Fireball.
Yes.
I
accurate.
just I love that. I have to say that. Um, how do you so? How do you feel? Astrofauna has been in the works for 6 years. It is
Yeah.
about to come to a point. You're done with every page. You have merch. You have every detail organized, ironed, and ready to go. Your Kickstarter is $50 away. People, please come on.
Oh my god, we just hit it.
What?
I
What? What?
think we
What?
just did it.
Oh my god! I'm looking right now.
We just
Easy.
did it.
Yeah, 1360.
We did it during the stream.
Ah, yes, we've spoken
I,
into the universe.
we should
For those of
definitely
you who
have
are
like
just
a
joining,
D&D session around it for sure. That would be great.
I would love to as a
Yeah.
side quest for XP share. I'm here for it. So for those of you, so my mom just said congratulations, and for
Thank
those of you just
you.
tuning in, if you're just coming in now, we did it. Sarah did it. We didn't do anything.
Hooray! You helped. I'm sure you definitely helped.
um, but Sarah's amazing Kickstarter for Astrofauna got just got completed, 100%ed, and
Let's
so
go.
now we have to just beat that. I mean, we're good. Good job.
Okay, well, now let me tell you my plans. So
Excellent.
the thing that's coming at 15. So we hit 13,600 just now, and that's 100% funded. And
Yay!
at 15,000, I have 5 GMs already lined up to do the D&D 5e stat blocks for everything in
Ooh.
Astrofauna. So, and at 20, and I haven't even mentioned this, we already have a xenobiologist playable class that is going to be created by
Oh my god.
Carlos Leasing, who runs Castle Entertainment.
Yes!
So, Just saying, the stretch goals are cool.
That would be dope.
Oh my
That'd be
god.
really
Okay, well,
cool.
I have goosebumps now. I'm so excited. I'm so
I'm
excited for
super
you because
excited.
now I also got a copy of Astra Fauna. Right? So thanks everybody. It was all selfish. Really appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Podcast over.
And beep. No, I'm
That's it.
kidding.
We're out.
That's the whole point.
Trickster gun.
I mean, wow. Um, we've spoken in the universe. That's it. That's
It
what you
totally
gotta
worked.
do. Gotta
Totally
manifest.
worked.
Gotta manifest it.
It worked.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited
I'm
to
super
have another one of your
excited.
books too.
Yeah, how many books do you have? You have
I have all three.
Atlas. You have Atlas. You have Seen and
Or
Unseen, and now you're gonna have Astra Fauna, right?
yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have all three. And
Yeah, yeah.
I think I have one of your copies of Seen and Unseen that's signed.
Oh, nice.
I think.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure. I would go look, but I don't have a wireless headset.
That's fine. That's fine.
If I had a coffee table, it would be my version of coffee table art. Oh gosh, now I'm so excited. But so, God, and you have TMs lined up and everything. Your stretch goals are cool too. Um, that is awesome.
I'm
What?
really very honored that a lot of the people who are gonna do the 5e stats were just like, Astra Fauna sounds really cool. We really want to be more involved. Like, can we help? And like, because these are guys that I've known for years and years. I've gamed with a bunch of them. So like they were like, oh, you're thinking about like tabletop enhancements for the book, and I was like, yeah, and they're like, we're on board. So it was really cool.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I got a good question for you. If
Yeah.
Astra Fauna ever just like totally took off, the world loves it. They fall in love, especially with your little worry buddies, because one
Oh,
day
I
I will
love
have
them.
them. Someday you fall in love. What do you think that would you sign on to an Astra Fauna movie or TV series or board game?
Totally. I would totally do that. Yeah, definitely. The next thing I kind of want to do is actually make like a TTRPG, like with Astra Fauna. I'm already talking to a couple game designers who can help because I'm pretty good at I do art and I can like I'm very confident as an artist. I'm decently confident as a writer, but as like someone who can do like the nitty gritty of actual game design, I would prefer to work with someone who's a professional in that field. So I'm talking to a couple game designers, and hopefully we can make like a full, like, robust campaign setting with classes and all that, so you can actually have a full game set in Astra Fauna.
And a lot of LARPs are just uh tabletops that have been adapted for live play. So maybe we should start a LARP branch.
Woo! Man, I hadn't even thought of that. Like, wow, you're yeah. All
I
right.
mean,
Ideas
because
flowing.
uh, we're here, right? We already put one thing out of the universe, and the universe delivered. So, hello,
Right.
obviously someone's listening. Uh, whichever deity it was that made this happen, thank you,
Thank you.
homie.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Pouring out. Um, yeah, I mean, seriously, that's what. So, Dystopia Rising is a tabletop. And so
Oh,
Dystopia
I didn't
Rising.
know that.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
Dystopia Rising was adapted for LARP. It's called Dystopia Rising Evolved. And I don't know if Evolved is just season 3 because that's the only season that I've done so far.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, it started off as a tabletop. So I feel like a lot of tabletops are being adapted either for LARP or a lot of LARPs come from tabletops in general.
that makes
Um,
sense.
I know there's a couple out there. Like there's one that just started in SoCal um, called Gloomhaven instead of Gloom
Oh,
Hollow. Or no, not Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's the board game, so it's Gloom Hollow, not
Blue
Gloomhaven.
Hollow until Blue Haven. Yep.
Yep. Whew. I know I remember they were similar, and I was like, which one's which? Don't fuck this up. Did it anyway.
Don't mess it up.
I
It's
swear to
all
God.
good.
I swear, no copyright. I didn't do it. So Gloom Hollow, right?
I am sculpting for Gloomhaven though. That's probably
I
interesting.
That's right. Oh God, we didn't even touch on that. But
But
we'll get
Do Gloom Hollow first.
so Gloom Hollow is one that a couple of people from the SoCal division of DR have put together. It's a
Oops.
modern day fantasy LARP, and they are actually just wrapping up their first season. So, I mean, you build it and they will come. And I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know of any uh, space alien LARPs or space LARPs or alien LARPs. So
So maybe.
I think that would be so sick.
Someday.
I think that would be cool. And one of the things I like about Astra Fauna, and we've been talking about it, is going to be the emphasis is going to be like on exploration and discovery and stuff like that. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a good fight, in LARP or in tabletop. So they'll definitely be able to do fighting. There's just going to be like you're going to be able to do other things too.
which is which is important for people who aren't fight
Yeah.
driven. There's a lot of conversation, and this is a whole other tirade, but there's a lot of conversation around going to a LARP but not being a combat character. I
Mhm.
could talk for literally hours about that,
Yeah.
and what the options are for other people. But um, so you mentioned, segueing right into this, you mentioned Gloomhaven, which you've done
Yes.
sculpts for.
I
Uh,
have.
what sculpts have you done?
Oh my god, I've done like 80 for them.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, just a
uh,
few.
Yikes.
just yeah, but you know what's so crazy is there like I want to call it a Kickstarter, but it's not because like you can run like a whole campaign on BackerKit now.
Oh,
So,
seriously?
oh yeah, you can like BackerKit made like their front end, and so I did a Kickstarter because everyone knows the name Kickstarter, but BackerKit has like this, it's completely fleshed out. Like you can do the whole thing via BackerKit now. So that's what they're doing. They just raised $2 million, which impressed.
What?
I am impressed. Um, and they're offering like 600 minis, and of which I've only done 80. So like when you put it
I,
into perspective, I've done like a drop in the bucket.
Oh,
But
hold on.
yeah.
80 out of 600 is not nothing.
that's yeah, that's like that's a little less than a six. Like, damn.
They have me do surprise surprise, I do a lot of monsters and animals for them. And
What have
yeah.
you
Um
um
the
go-
one of the coolest ones that I did is they have a elder drake that they're using on some of their promotional material, and that's mine. So if it looks like a dragon with her like I think it's a female dragon. Either way, she got her arm out like this and she's roaring and she's got like really intricate horns. That's the one I did.
That's why you chose the Jacob sheep. I'm kidding. But
Practiced.
and the face sculpt on that was so detailed. And I really loved looking at some of that promotional merch, which is obviously the only way that I've seen what it looks like so far. But just the detailing even in the claws and in the texture on the body, I just really loved it. Do you feel like it's harder to sculpt when it comes to things that are going to be printed, like STLs, or do you
Oh
feel
yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you're a sculptor, like the type of sculpting, well, this could like I haven't taken this too far. I could make this into an STL. Um, but like if you're gonna do some of like the astrofauna art that you see, like the fully rendered big illustrations, those are almost all sculpted in ZBrush to begin with, and a lot of those like wouldn't make a good game mini because they're like too detailed or they have gaps in them and whatnot. So like if you're gonna make a game mini or an STL, you have to be aware of like how things print, or like if they're gonna get cast or if they're gonna get injection molded or whatnot. So you have to make it more, they generally have to make things a little bit more chunky and a little bit more well defined. And I
yeah.
have found that if you do like the high res sculpting, you can get away with being a little bit general. You can be like, oh, like, I'm sort of sculpting some detail on the face. And if you're sculpting a mini, you're like, okay, this one line defines the cheek, and that's it. That's all you get. And so
Yeah.
you have to nail where that placement is, and so it makes you a better and more confident sculptor eventually. And it is a bit of a challenge to learn to think that way too. And now that I can do both, both they feed the other, they help the other. So I'm a more confident, deliberate sculptor now, and I also know how to do the detail. So it's just been good. They're good bedfellows, I suppose.
I like how you threw that eventually in there.
Yeah.
You'll get
I
there, I swear.
I can only imagine though, because it's a whole different skill. I mean, I almost feel like it's a different skill set to be able to understand how 3D printing even works. And because even for me, sometimes when I see people 3D print stuff or design STLs, I was like, I don't understand, why are there supports here? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just don't understand 3D printing. And
Yeah.
so to have that understanding and design something for it sounds unbelievably difficult. I'm going to be honest.
It's not too bad. And it's funny, like I went to when I first started thinking about doing it, I went to Gen Con and um started chatting with the people there, and you're gonna find some people who are like, no, I can never tell you my secret 3D printing knowledge. And then you're gonna find a whole bunch of people that are like, oh yeah, sure, you want to see exactly how I did it. And so you're just gonna find a bunch of them and chat with them for a bit, and then you can get the info you need and give it a go.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, that's
That's yeah.
baffling, mind-boggling. Blah, 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 blah.
So yeah.
Um,
So
gosh,
after you hit the tabletop kind of scene, where do you think you're going from there?
Oh,
if you could go anywhere,
that I haven't gone to.
Is
I have
kind of just a
well,
step in the pool?
I have I definitely have plans for like other books. Like I think it would be really cool to do an entire bestiary, like just absolute fuck all, like 300 new creatures or something like that. Like just like this huge
that
thing,
would
like
be intense.
just
Be
absolutely like flesh out everything. And then the other thing that I've been thinking of doing is uh in the same vein, but I don't know the name for this. It would be like a bestiary or a bestiary for anthropology. So it would be all the humanoid characters that you could encounter
that'd be nuts.
um on all
Yeah,
these worlds.
I mean, what would that be? I mean, is that an
So what would
encyclopedia?
your I guess for lack of a better term.
Yeah, like I like you guys get the gist of it. I just don't know the
Yeah.
word for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So what would be your thoughts of like putting your characters in like a full-fledged video game
Oh
in
yeah,
the future?
why is this getting all messed up?
That'd
If if someone wanted to make a video game of them, yeah, we could, like I'd be open to it for sure.
be
you hear
interesting.
that, chat? Contact Sarah.
No.
Video game.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
already copyrighting this. This is a crack media thing. What do you mean? Let's go.
No, stop. Sarah first.
No, it's definitely like I mean eventually I mean again like your whole tabletop thing is down the road. Like I do want to do some kind of game design with crack media and stuff like that. So I mean that would be cool if we can get something going like that. That would be flipping amazing.
Yeah.
Even a
Um,
Like
little
we
mini
could.
game.
huh?
Even a
Yeah, I
little
was.
mini game.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to, like for those who have seen the previous episodes of like XP share, like it, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that team of developers that goes out and like tries to put out a game that's like way beyond the realm of what's possible kind of thing. So it's like I do want to start out with like small kind of like 2D or mobile games kind of thing like that and then build up from there. So it's not going to be like, yo, let's go out with this big old project and like do this insane MMO or something that's never going to be finished for like 25 years and just like build up
Mhm.
hype for no reason. So it's going to be like a step-by-step process, but I definitely again do want to get to that point where we can compete with like the AAA titles and make something look really good. Have an artist like Sarah who actually knows what she's doing, and just make it a whole beautiful environment. You know, kind of step on everybody's toes, for lack of a better term.
Well, and having there's all sorts of, creative eyes, and art is in the eye of the beholder, and it's something that I struggled with as an artist, which is why I bailed and went into science, because it was black and white and nobody could have their opinions about my art.
Yep. It's hard. It is. Every once in a while, I'll get some critique and I'll just be like, but
Well, and we talked about that, right? The
yeah.
haters are going to do what they want to do. They're going to think that they're right, and that's fine. And something that I forgot that I wanted to mention was it's kind of like stating, um kind of having like self-deprivation things, is when people go like, "Oh, I'm not like attractive or something." One of the
Mm.
most like defining things to me is like, you're just not your own type. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
don't worry about it. It's okay. And you go, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense."
Yep. I'm just not
So,
my own type.
yeah. And
Yeah, imagine dating yourself. Like, gosh.
no thanks. Absolutely not.
I would not get along with me. No.
Oh,
I actually think that's why I don't get along with herding dogs, is because they're basically me. Like it's like there's just too it's too much me. It's just way too much of the same personality over and over again. And it's like reflected in an animal that can't talk back to me. So it's just there's no it's just like a raw emotional me tidal wave. Which is why I need sight hounds, because they're chill and they're quiet and they're awesome.
I if I ever own a house, which in this housing market it's questionable, I love the idea of sighthounds. I don't know if I could be a sighthound person. I've had herding dogs and healers, and that kind of thing. Those have been all my dogs, either blue healer or border collie. Um, but my grandma grew up breeding Malinois,
Oh
Belgian
wow.
Malinois. Yeah,
Those are
so
an intense dog.
and she
Like,
did agility, she did like Mundo ring, she did everything. And bless her, I don't think if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have gotten into animals at all.
mm,
But she also taught me a lot about herding breeds and taught me a lot about the high energy, high prey drive, but like crazy intelligent dogs. And
right.
that's what I love about them. And I don't think I'm in a place where I could ever own a Malinois. I would love it. I would love any of the Belgian sheepdogs. I think that would be amazing. Um, but I don't have the personality to own one. I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think that an important thing about like picking your dog breed is it being able to admit that. Like one of my favorite ways to put it is like the dog breed that you should get is the dog that you can handle on your worst days.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I can totally handle like a husky or a malamute or or a border collie or a dalmatian or whatever." And I'm like, "Every day?"
All
Every
the
And
time?
and for me, I know like even like I mean, you kind of know me personally. It's like I'm in the gym all the time. I work out all the time, but I have some bad days. Like, and if I'm having like a bad like mental health day, I cannot have a herding dog that needs to do herding dog stuff. I need a dog that I'm just like, nope, buddy, it's not going to happen. And then Ink's just like, cool, I'll just lay down on your legs until you're better.
as I'm
And
over
that's
here
great.
dealing with two German Lab Husky mixes.
Yeah, yeah, that's
That
a hell of a lot of dog.
that
Yeah, sure is.
that's because you're a masochist.
True though.
um, I'm super thankful that Rinsler is low key for a herding breed. And
Mm.
I think that has to come from whatever single brain cell of intelligence that he has. Is
Oh.
I love him, but he flopped as my second service dog because my late service dog was Nurgle. Um, and
Also,
then
great name by the way, because
thanks.
I recently have discovered 40K and it has been delightful for me.
What's your who's your favorite faction?
I mean, I probably could guess. I'm gonna be getting the Tyranids.
I was gonna say Gene
Yeah,
Stealers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we do have a Leviathan box coming to the house. I'm very excited.
Oh my god.
So,
I've
yeah.
been seeing people go and
Oh,
like posing with their Leviathan boxes, and I'm just like, and I don't have $400. Like, I don't know how much it was, but um, out of my price range right now. But
Mm.
my partner and I joked initially when we had adopted him in Texas. We're like, oh, we'll call him Nurgle, and we were really worried because it sounds really close to a different N word.
Yeah.
Especially if you have an accent. And so we weren't really sure we were going to call him anything else, but it stuck and we couldn't stop.
Hmm. That's like Flint. We call him Bean because when he was a puppy, like we were getting communications from the breeder, and she was like, oh, here's the litter, and these are the ones that like might match your personality, like the personality quizzes and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And so we started calling him Bean because he was a little brown bean. And like now his official name is Flint, but I still call him Bean Bean. Like he's just the bean. He's just a bigger bean now.
I don't even think I call Rinsler by his name very often.
I call Ink Babes just all the time because he acts like a baby. Like he really does think he's like my child. He does. Which I don't agree with, but that's his thing. Like so he like when he was a little puppy, I lived on like the third floor, and there's some like, is it our stairs bad for joints? Our stairs good for joints? Like I was like, you know what? I don't have time. I'm just gonna carry this dog until it's 6 months old. So like it was like 3 flights of stairs up and down every time he had to pee, and so now I can just like pick him up at will, like he's a little baby, and he's like, this is normal for me, and that's just
Throw
how
me
he
oh,
over
is.
shoulder.
Yeah.
guys, I just noticed we're at the 135 mark. Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my
This
god.
has been fun.
There's just so
I
many
thought we
things
were
to talk
barely
about.
coming up on like maybe passing an hour.
Oh
I
no.
have not been paying attention to the time at all.
I have
There
Oh
been.
are
my
And
many
gosh.
nerdy things we could discuss. We
For
have like
hours.
that's because we have a wide range of nerdness. Like we're like, oh yeah, we can
Yeah.
talk about animals or art or gaming or other gaming.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of what I want, like the whole like encompassing XP share, kind of just all the episodes is just people being fucking nerds, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
We're, we're all nerds. We all got some sort of, whether you do board games, actual gaming, like it's just comic books, like everybody's a nerd in some way, shape, or form.
For sure.
For sure. So I'm looking at
You're
your sculpt and this is so crazy to see
you're
this come
streaming
from like
this,
a
right?
blob.
On
Yeah, oh
yours?
yeah.
Okay. That's an idea here. Shoot me the link and then we'll just send a raid over.
Oh, sweet.
Are you live streaming also right now, Sarah?
Me? No, I'm not.
Oh, I thought
Okay.
okay,
No.
I thought you was.
Oh, that's what you were asking. No, 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 no. It was
Okay.
Yeah, have we been live
next
this
time.
time? Shit.
No, next
Imagine.
next time, next time we do it, I will. But it was like it's the first time we ever got this set up, and I was like, man, I'm a little confused. So I just figured I would, you know, just work on your stuff.
Ah, that looks
Well,
so cool though.
it's so creepy. What is your Twitch? What's your Twitch name,
Yeah, just
Oh,
Sarah?
just Astra
drop
Fauna.
all your socials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's if you just look up Astra Fauna, or Sarah Dahlinger, you'll be able to find me everywhere.
All one word on Twitch, I'm guessing.
Yeah, just Astra Fauna. So was it twitchtv.com Astra Fauna or something like that?
Yep. Twitch.tv/Astrafona. And you already have people to do audiobooks. Oh, as we're wrapping this up, I would like to touch on something that's really important to me as someone who's an accessibility nerd for things like my LARP. I also really want to point out that you took time to make sure that you have not only a dyslexic friendly transcript with a dyslexic friendly font, but you have a couple of other accessibility stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it kind of as you learn more about humans and meet more people, it became really obvious to me that some of my good friends who I've known for years actually couldn't participate and fully enjoy my book because of the way I was designing it. Like I did not know this. I don't have these things. So like I had a few friends that were like, "Oh, I can't do the dark background light text. Like I'll get migraines," or a few friends who are like, "I am dyslexic," or some people. And me personally, I'm sometimes I need to, like, the audiobook is like a thing that I would need, like, sometimes I need to hear it while I'm reading it and stuff like that. So I just decided that it would really make me sad if I'm going to make this new world that potentially people could put like their homebrews in or invent new characters for, or like come and enjoy it, that some people would be left out. So I went in and I like gathered all the text. So like, oh, Astra Fauna is like a running story on like one column, and then like little field notes about each image. So all of that is in the transcript. So if you want to use a screen reader, you can. Um, and or you can look at the transcript and that's all in there, so everything is included. And then the audiobook is going to be the main storyline. So
I
yeah,
feel like
just
even oh, go ahead.
oh, as that I figured, like, if we get the text transcripts and the audiobook, that should cover a bunch of people. So yeah, I just wanted to get as broad as I could.
And I think even as someone, while I have some visual impairment, I wouldn't say that it's impossible, but don't take my glasses off because
Oh,
that's
I'm
it.
super blind. Like my
Yeah,
eye
and I
doctor was just like, whoa, like I just got a new one. So
oh god, I need new glasses so bad, but I'm super super nearsighted. I've worn glasses since I was in kindergarten. I don't know life without them, so I absolutely understand. But with glasses, it's still corrective, right? I can still end up, seeing, reading, doing all my normal stuff. But even then, I also just enjoy an audiobook because sometimes I need to turn my eyeballs off,
yeah.
and also
True.
especially because it's. I mean, I love your voice, and I think that you're also super enthusiastic, but to hear people play the characters, to read as them, it gives them a new life. And it's something that's honestly still, I don't see it as just an inclusivity thing. I'm glad that it is, but also I think
Kind of
everybody
like an immersion thing.
yeah, I think everybody should take
Oh, and
advantage
they're
of
doing such a good job too. Like I'm getting like little I think I have roughly half the book done, and
oh my
the people who are doing it, they're doing like I wanted it to be sure that the sound effects and the music, and there will be a stripped down version if people like can't even with sound effects and music. I totally get that, but they are doing a version with full sound, and it's super immersive. Like what they're doing, it's really really cool, and I geek out about it because everything I do creatively is visual. I do nothing like audio. And so like these people are like audio artists, and I'm just like, you're like wizards. You're amazing. So they're doing a great job.
I think, and I think it's one of the reasons why I nerded out super super hard when you agreed to do the interview, because I think, I mean, that's just cool to me. I don't know.
Well, I'm
I
happy you asked me to do it because it's been super fun. I'm having a blast.
yay. But it's like getting starstruck, for a second, and it's you got to take the leap to ask people to do stuff, and you got to put yourself out there. But also,
Definitely.
God, why was I
Well,
bringing that up in relation to what you said?
I mean,
My brain.
we'll definitely have to do like a kind of catch up, like see where you're at with the Kickstarter, see what's been going on, your progress and stuff like that. Because I'm sure. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
People
there's
are
going
gonna
to be
ask.
progress.
Faded's gonna ask.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
you, Faded.
Pe-
Um,
as we get it out there, people are going to be interested, especially D&D stats. Wait, what?
Yeah.
well,
I'm super hoping that we get to them because like the guys that I have that are gonna make them, like I've like Carlos, who did the xenobiologist class. I already have saw the rough draft. It's awesome. I've gamed with him a few times, and he is an awesome DM. Like he's so good.
and it always helps when there's a good storyteller for a good story.
Yeah.
So, um, I want to before I think we're gonna try to wrap up because we're almost gonna hit the 2 hour mark. Um, I have to see what the face on your sculpt looks like. It's been a minute since I've seen it,
Yeah.
and so
Oops.
It just takes a head off.
That's gone.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
no.
There is no more head.
Then
What do you mean?
And then I signed out. So
Oh my god.
so we have
Uh,
Mr. Spider Sheep.
That is so
Here,
good.
let me see if I can get him to center better for you. Oh, too close.
Ooh,
All
I'm
right.
just gonna call him Mr. Jacob.
I like it. I actually really like it. I'm probably eventually gonna finish this, like for reals. I'm having a
I
fun
love
time with
him.
it. Yeah.
And
I
the
like how his
detail
little
already is
spider
crazy.
fangs kind of look like a little mustache.
It totally does.
Yeah, like what you could do, what I think I'm gonna do is like, so if you took. Okay,
Faded
where
says
are
the
they?
detail is already crazy in this little of time. Right?
Thank you. But like if you took this, you could make this is gonna be crude, but these are like the spider fangs. Like if you were like kind of what is it, like a funnel web spider? They have got those
Right.
big fangs, and then you could make the fur so like these guys, so they'd be sort of hidden. So you'd be like, oh, it's kind of cute, but it has fangs in the back, and that's fun.
My gosh. I mean, it's kind of like seeing jumping spiders. Jumping spiders have huge teeth, like fangs, but they don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Um, I like him. I like Mr. Jacob. For some reason, I now envision him in a full tuxedo. With his little spider legs. I don't know why, but he just needs because his name is
So
Mr.
is
Jacob.
that like his vibe? Like, is he like a martini sort of guy? You think like
he's
or
I
just,
don't.
he's like
manhandle?
lifting up his fangs to like drink or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. He's like, just have some Manhattan, like that.
Exactly. Or his just as Earl Grey tea because he's beyond
Oh,
alcohol.
okay, okay. It could be like so Earl Grey and like some digestive biscuits sort of guy.
Yes. Yeah, it's one or the other. It's like he's in the FBI, like he's part of Men in Black, or
Mm.
he's like the Dowager Countess, and like, like he's just the Queen's advisor. There is no in between.
No compromise.
um, well,
Stories.
the stories that
The
we
stories.
have to do this again. Even if we just
Yeah.
have an art corner, I would love to have you on. I've been geeked out for this so much. Um, and it's been such a blast. And I don't want it to end.
I've
But
had so much fun. You'll have to give me a new creature next time we do it.
oh,
Oh.
that won't be a challenge at all. I sat here one night in Discord with a bunch of my friends and I was like, what's the weirdest combination of plausibly good looking things, right? You can't just say put a butterfly and a I don't know. I can't even think of anything weird at the moment. But you can't just say, "Oh, put a butterfly and a horseshoe crab together." Like, okay, that's gonna be weird.
Like you could do it. I like. Yeah, you're right. Like you could do it, but would it be
But
cool?
But
right?
Yeah.
Um so you have to think about things that are like plausible
Yeah.
together.
yeah,
So, um but
100%
Mr.
though.
Jacob is fantastic.
Mr. Jacob likes you.
Mr.
We're best friends.
Yeah.
Forever now, Mr. Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
You go way back.
he manages my payroll.
No, at least he's very very studious. Good head on his shoulders. Well educated.
Yeah,
Well
I mean,
educated.
From
I heard
what would be a good institution that educates spider sheep?
hmm, institution for spider sheep. There has to be some sort of like fiber or like spinning or spun um pun in here somewhere, right? Since they're both textile, right?
Right.
Is it some sort of textile skill? Is he a textile Excuse me.
We're
Is
getting there now.
it
I think that's just one of the cool things is you kind of like not only have the ability to like sculpt whatever like comes to your mind, but you're giving everything a whole entire backstory to it as well.
It's fun. It's like I think play is important. Sometimes we get very serious, especially it's nowadays. Sometimes it's kind of hard not to be serious. So,
Yeah.
every once in a while wondering where Mr. Jacob got his very good education so he can manage your payroll. It's fun to it's fun to hang out, figure out.
Absolutely.
Well,
Cub.
we'll definitely have to do this again.
For sure.
I think we're shooting for possibly doing this every 4 weeks. Having some kind of somebody come in for the next spotlight. We'll keep you updated on details for that, but definitely going to have an update from Sarah at some point.
Yeah.
Look at that backer goal. See how high it's raised.
Right?
See the progress on everything.
I'm so excited that we hit your Kickstarter.
I'm
Okay.
super excited.
Um,
Super pumped.
for everybody, all the viewers and all the chatters, we have dropped all of Sarah's links in chat, her Twitter, her Twitch, the Kickstarter, of which still needs. We'll just pretend that it still needs funding, so go do that. And then, as always, once we're no longer live here, you can go ahead and rewatch our stream over on YouTube and Kick, right?
Just YouTube. Just YouTube.
Just YouTube. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And
don't go to Kick. Nobody wants to go there. Let's be honest.
nobody wants to, but people are doing it anyway.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. The world may never know, and hopefully, I think, and we haven't gotten confirmation yet, but I'm speaking this into the universe too. Hopefully, our next spotlight in a month is going to be with two lovely gentlemen who created the cyberpunk experience C-Tech, which was a one-shot LARP that was held here in California in December of last year, and it broke some major barriers, being one of the first cyberpunk LARPs of its kind nationwide. So
that's super cool.
and they had people flying from all over the states. A couple of people from Canada, someone from Europe even flew in, which is just boggling. So hopefully they haven't totally said yes, but they're both super interested. So I'm hoping that they do. So hopefully they will be next time, which will be
Nice.
exciting.
And then
Nice.
Sarah will definitely keep in contact. Feel free to stick around in the Discord. Throw your link on stuff when you go live every now and then. I'm sure people would love to see finished Jacob at some point as well.
It's true.
Eventually, yeah.
We have to. I mean, it would be hard. I mean, well, I guess we could figure out what a tuxedo would look like on this body, but we could definitely very easily give him a bow tie.
Ooh.
Absolutely. He needs a bow tie, maybe just a vest. Because
yeah, a vest. A vest we could do. Yeah.
right? Yeah, because the
Yeah.
vest, you just add extra armholes. You don't necessarily have to decide
Right.
whether it's an arm or a leg. This goes back to those pictures you see on Facebook where it's like, how would this animal wear pants? And you're just like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the whole part of the backstory, right? How does Mr. Jacob wear pants?
Wear pants.
Yeah,
What
because
is
of the
Mr.
text
Jacob's
costume.
what is Mr. Jacob's last name? Tune in next time.
I
Well,
like it.
thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for dropping the Discord link, J-Dog. And again, go back. We have all of Sarah's social media. Please, please, please go get us. Like I have any say in this. Go to her Kickstarter, please back it so we can get cool TTRPG stuff because you know you want it to. Follow her on Twitch because she does more sculpting like this live. And obviously, please get her books because they're amazing and she's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate
Or buy
that.
a lizard from her. You know what? Fine, fuck it.
Yeah. I don't have lizards available. Not yet.
Yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Yet keyword.
Yeah. Well, like I usually we're kind of tiny, so we only sell like 2 to 4 a year, if that. So.
I mean, that's what Mosh Pit was, so I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, out of a clutch, I would, or out of, not a clutch, but out of a breeding season, probably one or two holdbacks per pair.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Oh,
about right.
God, Cub pops in there. You know, I'm buying a lizard from you. Well, probably. Sweetheart. Cub is my partner. He's in the other room, so apparently
Okay.
I'm buying him another lizard. So
Nice.
Another one.
we have a lot of these are quote unquote Cubs lizards. So
Aw.
Good.
I've had a
Oh.
a shitload of fun. I've really
Oh, I
enjoyed
had a
it.
blast. This was good. This was a good conversation, and it was fun to meet Jacob.
I'm glad, and thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about Astra Fauna, seen and unseen, Atlas Animalia, um, what it's like to be an artist, what it's like to receive criticism, what it's like to, spearhead through like different, like not genres, but through different uh parts of hobbies. I mean, everything from just being like sculpting as a career, but also going into things like creating TTRPGs and shooting for the stars, right? So all of that has been really cool to hear where, and especially where you've come from, from your injury all the way up to your first successful Kickstarter.
Thank
Uh,
you. It's been a ride, and you've been involved for like a long time, like a
a long
lot of it.
time.
Like it's been a lot of it.
Well, and
Progress.
it's been really cool. It's been really cool, and to see updates on not only a little bit of your life because we're at least not total strangers, but
Yeah,
to see your life with ink and with Flint, and when you got your house and just all of it has been so cool and so inspiring, and to
thank
see
you.
someone just ride their art dream and go fuck it, this is what I'm gonna do.
Monsters.
Monsters. Yes, all the way. Well, thank
It
you
was
guys
great
for
talking to you
joining.
guys.
Any pressing updates, of course, are going to be in the Discord, so join that if you haven't already. We'll post a few things on Twitch, but we are not Twitter, but that's just mine, and nobody follows that. So videos up on YouTube. Check updates on Discord. Outside of that, we'll definitely see Sarah at some point in the near future.
For
Yeah,
sure. This
Hopefully,
was a blast.
hopefully,
Yeah,
speaking
we'll
it into
definitely.
manifestation.
right.
That's
We're
right.
all about that this episode.
It's worked thus far.
Yes. Well,
All right, friends.
thank you, Sarah, for joining us. It was
Yeah, no
a
problem.
great time, and we'll see you all next time.
Yay.
Bye.
It took a while to believe, but I made it, so watch me. The stars are almost in reach. Now I